Hey guys, this is Matt, and you're watching TV Punch for Tuesday, November 3rd, and today I'm going to be talking about The Flash Season 2, Episode 5, titled The Darkness and the Light. I'm going to run through a couple quick hits, just some things that I thought were fun and worth mentioning, then I'll run through the major plot points of the episode. So with that said, be careful for spoilers. If you haven't watched the episode yet, pause this, go watch it, and come back. You'll be glad you did. But a couple quick hits to mention. The first one being Cisco is the ultimate wingman. So after a battle with Dr. Light where she temporarily blinds Barry, Cisco helps Barry go on a date with Patty. He gives him a pair of basically video glasses, and he's able to see what Barry sees even though Barry can't see. And he basically tells Barry what's around him. Does Patty look good? Which she looked great. But he tells him what to do and what to tell her. And just basically he's his eyes. He's Barry's eyes on the date. And that was a really funny sequence. I loved it. Next up, we get an awesome Easter egg shout out to Aquaman. Jay and Caitlin are on a stakeout. Jay's telling Caitlin all about Earth 2. Caitlin asks if they have Atlantis. Jay says that actually, yes, they do, but it's still above water, and one of his best friends is from there. That was awesome. I think The Flash, more than any other superhero show on TV, is the best at just giving little nods and Easter eggs to things that maybe the layperson wouldn't understand, but comic fans know and pick up on. They drop that kind of stuff in there all the time, and it is great. I love that stuff. So moving on to the major plot points of this episode, I kind of feel like we are back on track with the actual story of The Flash. So the last couple episodes, I feel like have been complete setups for Legends of Tomorrow. We had the great episode that sort of humanized Captain Cold, and then last week we had the episode that introduced the new Firestorm. We're past all that now. We're finally back onto The Flash. But before we get back to The Flash's story, we actually are introduced to Kendra Saunders, who we know is going to become Hot Girl in Legends of Tomorrow. Cisco kind of hits on her a little bit, and she shoots him down. That was a fun little scene, but we don't get a whole lot of her in this episode, and that's fine because we've had enough build-up for Legends of Tomorrow for a while, I think. But this does at least put her in the universe, and I'm sure we'll see some more of her in a bit. So the main point of this episode, though, is to introduce us to the Earth 2 Harrison Wells. We find out a lot about him. We find out that he, very much like the Harrison Wells of Earth 1, he's pretty much responsible for the creation of metahumans on Earth 2. And it's very similar to the way it happened on Earth 1 with the particle accelerator exploded. We also find out that he's kind of a dick. I mean, he really is just a jerk and he's not very likable. I have the feeling that that's going to change as he starts to work with Team Flash more, as he starts to trust them and they start to trust him. There's a lot of trust issues there right now just because he is so off-putting and because he just does remind Team Flash of all the horrible things that their Dr. Wells did. I think that he's going to soften up, though, and that trust is going to be built. He and Jay Garrick know each other, and they do not like each other. They bicker like an old married couple. My theory is that that Harrison Wells hates metahumans because maybe one of them wronged him in some way. Maybe one of them killed his wife. We know that they didn't kill his daughter, and I'll get to that in just a minute. But he has something against metahumans, like something personal against metahumans, and I feel like he blames Jay for not stopping them, or maybe it's just limited to Zoom. I'm not quite sure yet. But they just don't like each other. They're going at each other the whole episode. They even get in a fight at one point. And it's kind of cool because Team Flash just lets it happen for a minute before Barry intervenes. But yeah, that was the main point of this whole thing, is just to introduce us to Earth 2 Wells. He is very, very much a genius, just like the last one, just like Victor Garber's Martin Stein was. He's going to fill that role that was left by Earth 1 Harrison Wells and then just recently left by Martin Stein, but we need to get to know him a little bit, and this episode does just that. We also meet Dr. Light in this episode. Now, she's another metahuman from Earth 2, another metahuman that was sent by Zoom to kill the Flash. But we find out that everything isn't quite what it seems with her. Now, in a little bit of a departure from the comics, we learn that she is actually the Earth 2 version of Linda Park. And she is off on a mission to kill the Earth 1 Linda Park so that she can get her life back. And that's what she keeps saying in the episode. I don't really understand what that means. I don't really understand if she's wanting to stay on Earth 1. Maybe she's trying to escape Zoom. All of the other metahumans that have been sent back by Zoom, they've just been sent back with a mission to kill the Flash, but Dr. Light seems like she's wanting to stay. So it was a little different. And Jay tells Barry that she's not like the others. She's not a killer. She can be reasoned with. I even made a note that says she isn't pure evil. She can be reasoned with. But then a couple scenes after I wrote that, she went and killed Iris's boss accidentally, sure. We're not completely through with Dr. Light yet, though, because while she was captured in this episode, in the preview for next week, they are discussing a plan to use the Earth One Linda Park in the Dr. Light get up to try to draw Zoom out, so we'll see how that works out. But we're definitely not done with her just yet. Patty and Barry finally go on a date, and this scene was really great. So I mentioned a few minutes ago that Cisco was the ultimate wingman, helping Barry out with his sight problems, I guess you would say. Barry really didn't want to stand up Patty again, even though he couldn't see anything, so that's pretty admirable of him. But they just have great chemistry together. I mean, Patty is essentially the female version of Barry, just without the speed powers, at least for now. She's kind of awkward like Barry is. She's very nice, and she's into a lot of the same things that he's into. They're just really great together. Now, I'm a comics purist. I sort of want Barry and Iris to end up together because that's how it is in the comics, or at least that's how it was pre-Flashpoint. That's the way it's supposed to be, I think, in the comics. Just like I want Oliver Queen and Laurel Lance to be together ultimately, because that's how it is in the comics, although I do like him and Felicity together. So I do like Barry and Patty, and I want to see some of that. Now, in order for him to be with Iris eventually, Patty's going to have to get hurt in some way, and I don't want to see that. But for now, I'm going to enjoy their budding relationship. I think we're going to get a lot more of that. They're going to get a lot closer this season. She's inevitably going to find out that he is the Flash. I can't wait to see how that goes down. But I'm really, really liking the two of them together. She is a great addition to this show. Cisco gets outed thanks to Harrison Wells. So Cisco's been keeping his secret of his powers from, or I won't even call him powers really, but just his ability, I suppose. He's been keeping it a secret from everybody else. Martin Stein last week told him he needs to tell everybody, and I think he would have eventually, but he hadn't done it yet. And then Dr. Wells has a device that detects metahumans, and it detects Cisco. And so basically he just calls him out in front of everybody. I kind of thought that everybody might be a little bit mad at him, but they weren't. They understood his reasons for it. He was afraid he was going to become like the Earth One Harrison Wells. He was afraid he was going to become evil or bad, and they sort of, Team Flash convinces him that he doesn't have to be. So that was really nice. And then in a really cool, I guess you could call it an Easter egg at the end, when Cisco's talking about learning how to control his abilities, Cisco does what Cisco does, and he says he needs a code name, but it's Barry that says, "What about Vibe?" And, you know, Vibe, there's a lot of jokes made about Vibe in the comics community. He's not the most serious character in the world, but it was really natural the way they did that in this, and it really kind of fits, because it really fits with his powers. Even in this episode, Cisco mentioned that he gets these vibes or these flashes of things relating to Earth 2, and so that's how the name's adopted, and it really just kind of worked, and he liked it. I'm excited to see how they use it more. I wonder if he's going to insist that people call him that now. I wonder still if he's going to develop his abilities further into more like powers, true powers, like what he has in the books, or if it's just going to be this sort of extrasensory ability. I'm not really sure. But it all really worked out really well. Bravos to the writers for making it happen. During Barry's final battle with Dr. Light, he develops a new ability, the ability that Reverse Flash had to create after images of himself. So he's able to move so fast that he leaves behind after images or speed images of himself all over the place, so that Dr. Light doesn't know where the real Flash is. That'll be nice to see how he incorporates that into future episodes. Now, I have one nitpicky thing about this. They seem to be really inconsistent with the Flash's power. So if the Flash is able to run fast enough that he can leave several after images of himself all over the place, why is he not fast enough when Dr. Light is shooting light at him and he's hiding sort of behind the train, I think it was, and he's saying, "How do I take her out?" How is he not fast enough just to run around the train and up behind her and smack her in the back of the head and knock her out? They're really inconsistent with his speed. If he's that fast, and it's an age-old problem with the Flash, and it's the same kind of trouble you have with Superman. If they're really that fast, or if they're really that powerful, should they really have any trouble whatsoever with any villain or any situation that's thrown at them? I mean, you can write for that, but it just make it consistent. Maybe you don't make the Flash as fast as he is. Or maybe you just have a more powerful villain. I don't know how you do it, but just keep it consistent. That's the one thing that I think consistently bothers me throughout this show, is just the inconsistent nature. He's extremely fast at one point. He's kind of fast in some other times. So I don't know. Hopefully they'll balance it out. But that sort of bugged me just a little bit. And then the last thing that we see at the very end of the episode, we're taken back to Earth 2, and we see that Zoom is keeping Earth 2 Wells' daughter prisoner. So I mentioned a few minutes ago that I think maybe Dr. Wells has some kind of personal vendetta against metahumans. Maybe they wronged him in some way. Maybe they killed his wife. Or maybe this is it. Maybe he hates them because Zoom kidnapped his daughter. He must have had a wife somewhere. I will probably learn about her at some point through some other flashbacks. But we do see what Zoom is doing. That's got to be why he hates Jay so much, is because, I think Zoom kidnapped Wells' daughter. Jay couldn't stop him, so Wells blames Jay for not stopping Zoom. He blames Jay for his daughter being kidnapped and for whatever other bad things Zoom did. So that's going to be awesome to see more of that. And next week looks to be a very Zoom-heavy episode. I think we're finally going to get a little Flash versus Zoom action. I'm not sure, but that's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see how that shakes out. So that's pretty much it, guys. Just a couple cool Easter eggs and then some plot points, some of the higher notes from this episode that I thought were worth mentioning. So if I left anything out, please be sure to leave a comment below and let me know. If you want to check out all the other videos that I'm posting on Supergirl or Arrow, or I'm going to really try to catch up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I know I keep saying that, or other things. Be sure to subscribe by clicking the button below. If you're not watching this on YouTube, you can check it out on youtube.com/nerdpunch. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Both of those are at nerdpunch. And you can check out nerdpunch.com, where we're posting other cool stuff that we find online. And it's also a great place to check our schedule of upcoming videos. But that's it, guys. So until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later. See ya.